Thank you for joining me for this episode of the Wild Sonnets Out Loud. My name is Nicholas Korn, and I am the poet of the Wild Sonnets. Every week, I select 2 poems from the 6 books in the series, and I read them here. The first selection for this episode comes from the Wild Sonnets Volume 2. The myth of Icarus and his symbolic fall is a standard subject and staple among poets. With this next poem, I add my own take on this famous fable, and I'd like to share that with you here. This is Wild Sonnet 176 from the 2nd book of Wild Sonnets. We think of him falling, the wings undone, the softened wax that fixed each feather to the other, now releasing what before the height had hardened and held. Caution the craters in the mind, amid the flurry of quills, uncollected and single seas, the boy dropped downward, clutching at the breeze. But here is what our history will miss: the smooth feel of the plumes beneath the fingers as we receive our Father's gift, the warm and dimpled leather of the straps that embrace about the arm. How the air at first resists, then gives as we begin to fly and climb to have our storied moment in the sky. And that was Wild Sonnet 176 from the Wild Sonnets Volume 2. The next Wild Sonnet is from the 3rd volume in the series. This is a poem about how sometimes things just fall apart on us, and how even amid calamity, we keep going. With that as a segue, here is Wild Sonnet 235. Days have been when collapse has laid his broken hands on everything I intended once so touched. Whatever in me burned to be was by him burned to ash, cindered and sundered beyond collection or repair. At his approach, all other angels turn away, as promise turns to powder and dismay. What tears I shed, they were the waters of the world, were not for sorrow nor the waste of what my labors had been leveled to. I poured into the soot and grit of what moisture may from the organs of our sight be settled into clay, needing now and needing here the promise makes to persevere. And that was Wild Sonnet 235 from the Wild Sonnets Volume 3. I hope you've enjoyed the pair of wild sonnets I've shared in this reading. I've been writing these poems for over 8 years now, and there are at present 6 books in print, each with 100 wild sonnets, with a 7th to be released very soon. To get the full scope of this massive literary project, visit me at www.wildsonnets.com. And finally, I just want to thank you for watching. I'll be back in a few days to share 2 more poems in the next episode of the Wild Sonnets Out Loud. Until then, stay wild and stay well.